Yeah, as long as you have a brain, you need to give it specific, perfect information that's immutable.
Yeah, and when you're on stage, talk about being nervous on stage. A lot of it is just preparing the right way, like you're talking about, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And so if you know you prepared correctly, you know it's only going to come out that way. There's no other way it could come out, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
So that's a large part of it. I mean, is there other factors that come into in terms of hyping yourself up, getting the right frame of mind and all that? Or do you not really worry about that stuff and just prepare right and it's going to go
No,
okay?
but if you didn't hype yourself up when you're practicing, don't hype yourself up on the day of the concert, because you're going to deviate your brain from that which you practiced. And your brain is going to tell us, what is all that? What is this hyping up? Where is that located? And it's going to put aside everything you practiced, and you go into lunacy. When we go on stage, we play that which we practiced. So we need to practice from memory. We need to practice dancing around the room. We need to practice with the phrasing, with lovely things, and that is going to go into the brain. So the day of the concert, we just play whatever is on the brain, and you're going to dance, and you're going to move, and it's going to be lovely. So there's only one way of doing it. See, being nervous, we can ask neurologists about this so they can explain better. From a practical point of view, I see that as a conflict between what we want to do and what our brain is telling us that we can do. So the idea that I'm going to practice the 120 Mozart concerto, I can only do 116, but I know that on the day I'm going to have this adrenaline rush and I'll be able to make it. We can't do that. We can't go on stage with that uncertainty. That's not professional, and at some point, it's going to break you. And even if you don't miss notes, you're going to miss phrasings, because you're going to be there concentrating on making sure you can play all the notes. That's not music. That's not our art. Right?
Yeah. And when you're on stage, though, I mean, you have all these eyes looking at you. It's a completely different atmosphere. Is there a way to replicate that in the practice room, or do you not even need to replicate that because your body just produces?
I don't worry too much about it.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, what I prepare myself to do is to give myself as a gift submissively to the audience. I'm here to give you love. So I see them as the recipients of my love. I don't feel afraid that they're all death guards out there waiting to take my soul away. I'm not afraid of fraud, of coming to them, you know what, I didn't practice as much, so sorry. I don't feel that way. I look at all of those eyes. I mean, I just played the concerto a couple times last week, and the way the stage was put, I'm right in front of the audience. So there was literally people sitting 5 feet in front of me, and with the cell phone like this, recording the whole thing. It's fine. Mm-hmm. Take my love. This is what I came here for. So when I practice, I also apply that. Our business, our art form is about giving love generously. So when the audience fits in, it's like they're supposed to have been there the whole time. Now it's finally complete. But I'm not going to be afraid of them, no.
Mm-hmm. So you have to practice with love, loving the music and loving yourself in a sense. Yeah.
Yes.
A lot of people, they tend to practice negative, right? It's they're judging themselves when they practice, and a lot of it is about negativity, but you can't let that get into your practicing, right?
Yeah, but you see, what is that, neurologically speaking? We can't be so arrogant that we think we own the world, that everything that happens is in our control. Again, look in the internet, make a search for brain and conscious, subconscious. You're going to see the maps. It's incredible. I'm telling you, it's this little strip here of consciousness versus the entire mess of the brain. is subconscious. When we practice with anger, anger is a description we have for what we feel. What we feel is a result of a chemical reaction in the subconscious. So if you practice with anger, or with fear, or with negativity, or whatever, your brain is going to memorize, oh, this is the Mozart concerto. Inject a little more of that hormone in the bloodstream because that's what these people like it. You're going to have it on the day you play for the audience. So in my teaching, and I forgive me if I am oversimplistic about this, I am not a neurologist. Okay? I'm a performer and I'm neurocurious, put it that way. But there are two extremes in this. One is adrenaline. It doesn't even come out of our brain. It comes out of the top, our backs. And it's the fear hormone. When we have adrenaline, we don't need oxygen. Adrenaline prevents us or avoids it. We don't need oxygen. So we don't breathe very well. For us wind players, look at that. The misery. I understand that the time in our lives when we have the most adrenaline is when we're being born and we're going through the canal. We don't have oxygen from the inside or from the outside, and we have adrenaline. So if you practice with fear, you're not going to be able to breathe. So goodbye practicing wind instruments. The other opposite of this is the dopamine, and it's more complicated than just one hormone. But dopamine is the feel-good thing. That means when we know the passage. If I tell people, play me any note on the oboe, anyone, your choice, any dynamic, just play any note. Nobody gets nervous. And then they play, you sound good. Yeah, because that's dopamine. We want dopamine. We want to feel good. So when we practice, even if we play only 2 or 3 notes or we do little groups, we want to feel good about it because the brain will memorize that. And on the day when you will go on stage, as the brain pulls all of that information from your memory banks, it's also going to add in the dopamine. You're going to somehow feel good about what you're doing. Nick, when I was a teenager, I fell in love with the Liszt Le Prélude. What a wonderful piece. And at some point, I guess everybody falls in love with that piece. And I would listen to that over and over. And I remember a high school bus trip. And people do their parties in the back of the bus. And I was there listening to Le Prélude in my boring autistic self in a corner. And I remember that I happened to have some sweets, some dulce de leche or something that I was eating as I listened to the Liszt preludes over and over. To this day, when I listen to Le Prélude, the taste of those sweets from 50 years ago comes to my mouth. Because the brain associates things. And again, we made it a priority. Music, practicing, playing well is our priority. We want to do this well. Okay, that is also a hormone that goes in there and says, this is special. And we want that process to fall into the parts of the brain and the hormones the brain can offer that gives us good self-esteem and security. So practice that way.
And do you have to consciously check yourself? I'm practicing negative and then kind of override that. Is this a conscious thing or is this just something you do naturally?
No, it's not naturally. Mm-hmm. We learned that the hard way.
Yeah.
And we learned that by experience. Sometimes that experience is negative. Sometimes I keep thinking of that one passage. It just keeps coming to my mind. And I'm not going to practice that thing. I got the harder stuff to practice. That thing is easy. In come the concert, guess which passage I had technical difficulty with? That simple one. everything else come out well. But it's like the subconscious talk to us, not by WhatsApp messages, but by hormones. And it throws us into our understanding. And we start thinking of that passage. So to paraphrase that, what do we do when we are nervous? Follow that rabbit down the hole. What is the brain trying to tell you? You're going to lead to that piece, to that movement, to that page, to that phrase, to that interval. And then you play that bar a few times and get yourself secure with dopamine, and you're going to see that your nerves disappear immediately. Until a few seconds later, you start feeling nervous again. But it's not about this bar, it's about something else. And then you follow the rabbit again until you clean that up. So it is possible for us musicians to have communication with our subconscious. And this is no voodoo thing, no kind of conspiracy theory about powers of the brain. No, this is legit. We just get that feeling. We have a sense that there's a part in our repertoire which is insecure. And we don't know why. It just keeps banging in our mind. And just go and practice that. And you're going to feel better. And you're going to know what to do when you come to that time. Okay, I go here, focus on that note, make sure that interval is clean, and the nerves disappear. It's marvelous.
So and consciously inject positivity when you practice. That's right?
Yeah, self-esteem.
Yeah.
We practice to be able to tell ourselves that we know how to do it. Boom, this is how we do it. Shut up, it's good.
And that's what's going to come out on stage. So if you have negative self-talk in the practice room, that's what's going to come out, right? So
exactly.
Yeah.
If we have low self-esteem, if we don't believe in ourselves, you can bet you're going to feel the same way on stage. You think, yeah, here comes that bad passage. I know I'm not going to make it. And even if you do make it, it's going to be lacking life. So why do it?